Hey everyone, I'm here in St. John, Michigan at Duplain Church of Christ. My team and I are going to be here doing some very dynamic, realistic conflict de-escalation training with staff and volunteers here in a couple weeks. I want to talk about how to deal with someone who is inappropriate. How do you de-escalate a situation like that? How do you distract a situation like that, distract a person like that? Chances are it's someone who might have some mental illness or just some type of cognitive challenges and disabilities, and they're just not aware of the negative effect that they have on the people around them. They're just not aware or don't care of society norms, space, personal space, and stuff like that. And the reason this came up is because just this past Sunday, we had a situation at my own church. It ended well, but I want to share with you another incident because it came up in conversation while we were talking about how to deal with someone like this person, if and when we have to deal with them again. At a church not too long ago, apparently this individual walked into the building Sunday morning getting ready for church, and he walks right up to an older female greeter at the door, and just very friendly like he comes up and says, "Hey, good morning. Where do the loose women in church sit? Where do the loose women in church sit?" And it was so inappropriate, and the greeter, God bless her, was so offended by that she slapped him upside the head and then stormed off. Kudos to her, but that in and of itself probably could have escalated the situation. But I certainly understand where she was coming from. This person was very inappropriate. Was he deliberately trying to be inappropriate, or in his mind, in his world, this is just a normal thing to ask? I don't know. Because don't you know that with a certain amount, when you know that someone is dealing with mental illness and all that, we always extend a certain amount of grace for that, right? Because they're not in their right mind. And so we have to slow down and consider that the people we deal with, are they really trying to be that rude and obnoxious, or are they dealing with a mental cognitive challenge and disability, and they're dealing with a mental illness? I don't know. You're going to have to be the one to take a moment, to take a breath, and slow yourself down and assess that situation to figure out what it is. Because is it number one, I'm not excusing the behavior, but is it a situation where we need to extend just a little more grace and patience with their behavior and all that? So whenever you deal with someone like that, especially if it's a regular, if it's someone that you know on a consistent basis, they come to church, they have family members, they're a family member of churchgoers and stuff like that. If you have a baseline feel for what's quote unquote normal, when they're on a good day, they're not in crisis, they're not getting manic and stuff like that, well then find out, work with the family. What are the things that can be done or said that are most effective in being able to distract them, trying to de-escalate them, and so on. And this is where that teamwork comes in. Teamwork isn't just you and your colleagues and other staff and volunteers. It's also working with family members of people who have mental illnesses and other cognitive challenges and so on. Remember, they're still a child of God too. Okay, they're still a child of God too. Slow down, assess the situation, think about what you're going to do and say and how you're going to say it. We'll see you on the next video.